Hi, everybody. So I promised I would come back once I found the Democratic response. So I searched around and, well, what do you know? Apparently, I don't know, they recorded it and then posted it. So it wasn't like it was live or anything. So I will get myself like out of the way here and I will make this bigger. And here is the newly elected governor of Virginia. And I'm going to disappear myself once she gets going and make sure the audio is okay, because I have that problem with audio all the time. Okay, yeah. I'm going to turn the audio up and I'm going to hit play.
Good evening and welcome to historic Williamsburg. We are gathered here in the chambers of the House of Burgesses. In 1705, the people of the Virginia colony gathered here to take on the extraordinary task of governing themselves. Before there was a Declaration of Independence, a Constitution, or a Bill of Rights, there were people in this room. The people who served here ultimately dreamed of what a new nation, unlike anything the world had ever seen, could be. The United States was founded on the idea that ordinary people could reject the unacceptable excesses of poor leadership, band together to demand better of their government, and create a nation that would be an example for the world. And this year, as we celebrate 250 years since America declared our independence from tyranny, I can think of no better place to speak to you as we reflect on the current state of our union. Tonight, as we watched our nation's lawmakers gather for a joint session of Congress, we did not hear the truth from our president. So let's speak plainly and honestly, and let me ask you, the American people watching at home, 3 questions. Is the president working to make life more affordable for you and your family? Is the president working to keep Americans safe both at home and abroad? Is the president working for you? As I campaigned for governor last year, I traveled to every corner of Virginia, and I heard the same pressing concern everywhere. Costs are too high in housing, healthcare, energy, and childcare. And I know these same conversations are being had all across this country. Because since this president took office last year, his reckless trade policies have forced American families to pay more than $1,700 each in tariff costs. Small businesses have suffered, farmers have suffered, some losing entire markets. Everyday Americans are paying the price. And even though the Supreme Court struck these tariffs down 4 days ago, the damage to us, the American people, has already been done. Meanwhile, the president is planning for new tariffs, another massive tax hike on you and your family. And Republicans in Congress, they remain unwilling to assert their constitutional authority to stop him. They're making your life harder. They're making your life more expensive. They're even making it more difficult to see a doctor. Rural health clinics in Virginia and across the country are already closing their doors thanks to the so-called One Big Beautiful Bill, championed by the president and Republicans in Congress. And tonight, the president celebrated this law, the one threatening rural hospitals, stripping health care from millions of Americans and driving up costs in energy and housing, all while cutting food programs for hungry kids. But here in Virginia, I am working with our state legislature to lower costs and make the Commonwealth more affordable. And it's not just me. Democrats across the country are laser focused on affordability in our nation's capital and in state capitals and communities across America. In the most innovative and exceptional nation in the history of the world, Americans deserve to know that their leaders are focused on addressing the problems that keep them up at night. problems that dictate where you live, whether you can afford to start a business or whether you have to skip a prescription in order to buy groceries. So I'll ask again, is the president working to make life more affordable for you and your family? We all know the answer is no. I grew up in a house of service. My mother was a nurse and my father was a career law enforcement officer. I began my career by following in my father's footsteps as a federal agent working money laundering and narcotics cases. I worked side by side with local and state police to keep our community safe and to uphold and enforce the law. Law enforcement officers across the country know that it is a unique responsibility to do the serious work of investigating crimes, comforting victims, and making arrests. It's about building trust, and that requires an abiding sense of duty and commitment to community. And yet, our president has sent poorly trained federal agents into our cities, where they have arrested and detained American citizens and people who aspire to be Americans. And they have done it without a warrant. They have ripped nursing mothers away from their babies. They have sent children, a little boy in a blue bunny hat, children to far-off detention centers, and they have killed American citizens in our streets. And they have done it all with their faces masked from accountability. Every minute spent sowing fear is a minute not spent investigating murders, crimes against children, or the criminals defrauding seniors of their life savings. Our president told us tonight that we are safer because these agents arrest mothers and detain children. Think about that. Our broken immigration system is something to be fixed, not an excuse for unaccountable agents to terrorize our communities. After working in law enforcement, I continued my career of service as a CIA officer, working undercover to protect the United States and our allies from global threats, terrorism, nuclear weapons, and the aggression of adversarial nations around the globe. But as the president spoke of his perceived successes tonight, he continues to cede economic power and technological strength to Russia, bow down to China, bow down to a Russian dictator, and make plans for war with Iran. Here's the truth. Over the last year, through DOGE, mass firings, and the appointment of deeply unserious people to our nation's most serious positions, our president has endangered the long and storied history of the United States of America being a force for good. So I'll ask again, is the president working to keep Americans safe, both at home and abroad? We all know the answer is no. In his speech tonight, the president did what he always does. He lied, he scapegoated, and he distracted. And he offered no real solutions to our nation's pressing challenges, so many of which he is actively making worse. He tries to divide us. He tries to enrage us, to pit us against one another, neighbor against neighbor. And sometimes he succeeds. And so you have to ask, who benefits from his rhetoric, his policies, his actions, the short list of laws he's pushed through this Republican Congress? Somebody must be benefiting. He's enriching himself, his family, his friends. The scale of the corruption is unprecedented. There's the cover-up of the Epstein files, the crypto scams, cozying up to foreign princes for airplanes and billionaires for ballrooms, putting his name and face on buildings all over our nation's capital. This is not what our founders envisioned, not by a long shot. So I'll ask again, is the president working for you? We all know the answer is no. But here's the special thing about America. On our 250th anniversary, we know better than any nation what is possible when ordinary citizens, like those who once dreamed right here in this room, reject the unacceptable and demand more of their government. We see it in the determination of students organizing school walkouts all across the country, whose voices are becoming so powerful that the governor of Texas seeks to silence them. We see it in the bravery of Americans in Minnesota standing up for their communities, from peacefully protesting in sub-zero temperatures to carpooling children to school, so that their immigrant parents are not ripped away from them in the parking lot. As a mother of 3 school-aged daughters, I am inspired by their bravery, but I am sickened that it is necessary. And Americans across the country are taking action. They are going to the ballot box to reject this chaos. With their votes, they are writing a new story, a more hopeful story. In November, I won my election by 15 points. And we won 13 new seats in our state legislature. Because voters decided they wanted something different. Our campaign earned votes from Democrats, Republicans, independents, and everyone in between. Because they knew as citizens they could demand more, that they could vote for what they believe matters, and that they didn't need to be constrained by a party or political affiliation. This is happening across the country. New Jersey elected Mikey Sherrill as governor in a double-digit victory. Democrats flipped state legislative seats in places like Georgia, Iowa, Mississippi, and Texas. The list goes on and on. Ordinary Americans are stepping up to run in the spirit of our forefathers. They are running to demand more and to do more for their neighbors and communities. I know the story well. I first ran for office in 2018 alongside dozens of other Democrats who did the seemingly impossible, flipping 41 seats in Congress. In my case, I was the first Democrat elected in 50 years, swinging our district 17 points. Those who are stepping up now to run will win in November, because Americans, you at home, know you can demand more, and that we are working to lower costs. We are working to keep our communities and our country safe, and we are working for you. In his farewell address, George Washington warned us about the possibility of, quote, cunning, ambitious, and unprincipled men rising to power. But he also encouraged us, all Americans, to unite in a common cause, to move this nation forward. That is our charge once more, and that is what we are seeing across the country. It is deeply American and patriotic to do so, and it is how we ensure that the state of our union remains strong, not just this year, but for the next 250 years as well, because we, the people, have the power to make change, the power to stand up for what is right, the power to demand more of our nation. May God bless the Commonwealth of Virginia, and may God bless the United States of America.
My friends, that was the official, make sure I'm talking here, that was the official Democratic response. What did you think? I see. Trump, yeah, you guys. I thought maybe I could just share a little bit of another, well, I wanted to share this too, but I want to share the New York Times. Let me just capture display. Here is what the New York Times has to say about Trump. Trump's State of the Union, rosy predictions, angry attacks. They're talking about how he attacked Democrats in the audience, and then they talk about how he heralds economic and border policies while calling Democrats crazy, which was really, I really thought, why is he doing that at State of the Union? The State of the Union is to talk about the economy and to talk about, which he couldn't talk about much because he lied, because he's lying about the economy. Because you guys, come on, I don't care. I don't care about MAGA or any of that stuff. Let's just talk about facts. Let's talk about how expensive everything is and how healthcare is going up. All right, let's just talk about facts and put down everything, all the negative stuff. So here's some fact checks from the New York Times. Fact checking Trump's speech. False. Quote from Trump, "We were able to find enough of that fraud, we'd actually balance the budget." That's false. This is misleading. Trump said, "We have more jobs, more people working today than ever before in the country." Not true. Misleading. This lacks evidence. What Trump says, "With our new military campaign, we have stopped record amounts of drugs coming into our country and virtually stopped it completely coming in by water or sea." There's no evidence, my friends. There's no evidence of any of this stuff that he's talking about. So, I mean, it was a lot of lies, and he did not focus on the economy. And people are very dissatisfied, and his numbers, here he is coming in. This is the New York Times front page. But I do want to also go to and share with you this story. Okay, this story was broken by NPR. Okay, the Justice Department is moving files, and they're going through and they're taking files out of the Epstein files that are related to Trump. So they're doing that right now. So these files are disappearing. So that's the beginning. An NPR investigation has found that the public database of the Epstein's files is missing dozens of pages related to sexual abuse accusations against President Trump. They're gone, my friends. They're gone. So it's a great article. I'm going to go back to display capture. And here's the actual live article. Same thing. So take a look at it. Take a look. It's on the NPR website. They did this investigation, and when you go to look at the files, it's page not found, and they're redacting like entire pages of operation. Having the New York Times fact check is like having, say what you want about the New York Times. I'm not crazy about the New York Times either, but they have a lot of reporters, and they did do that fact check, and they're right. Okay, you have to say they're right. And the Clintons, by the way, since you mentioned Clinton, they're testifying. Today's Tuesday. I think they're testifying tomorrow. And that Kushner dude, who was in his son-in-law, who was in the audience during the speech, he is doing the negotiations on whether or not we should have war, and he wants to build hotels on the Gaza Strip. That's why we're starving children there. So yeah. So I can go to other sites and share some information with you about the speech, but it was a lot of lies, and you don't have to listen to me, and you don't have to listen to the New York Times. All you have to do is go to the grocery store. All you have to do is go shopping. You don't even have to buy anything to see how much we've been screwed on the tariffs. And again, I'm going to say it again because you have to say it again and again. The tariffs are a tax. He slams these tariffs across the board, okay? And he thinks that it's hurting other countries. No. The goods come in from other countries because we just don't happen to grow bananas in the United States. So when the bananas come in, they tax the grocery stores that are buying the bananas. When the bananas go to the grocery stores have paid the extra 10% tax. They tax us. That's how it works. We are paying the tariffs. We are paying the taxes. It cost the average American $1,500 just last year, to pay for the tariffs. It's going to be more this year. And the reason it's going to be so bad is because there's no stability. Because the orange dude, is a little cuckoo, okay? He just gets angry and says 10% tariff. And then the next day, and I didn't even post anything that day when he was going off and on about the tariffs. I had other things I wanted to post. The next day, he was so mad about the Supreme Court. He said those tariffs are going to be 15%. You know, how can anybody plan when you're running a business? Plan to know what it's going to cost you to run your business. You can't. That's what's the problem. The problem is he's creating this uncertainty because cuckoo. And I mean, I don't like to focus just on how crazy he is, but his speech the other day was just, he starts talking to a woman in the audience. Oh, how are your eyes? You know, and he doesn't say, oh, here's a lady, her name is, Gloria Moraga, and I helped her get her eye surgery or whatever. No, he's just talking to her like nobody else is in the room. And he doesn't even make any sense. He read the teleprompter. He tried to stick with the teleprompter as much as possible at the State of the Union address. But it's easy, you guys, to give a speech when you lie 90% of the time. And it may even be more than that. I mean, the best moments were when he gave medals to the military people, because I love military people. I don't know what's going on here because I'm going off. In tariffs we trust. Yeah. Well, you guys believe what you want, but I'm just telling you right now, it's instability that's causing the problems with the economy. And all you have to do is listen to that dude. I think his name, I can't remember his first and last. I think his name is Jace. He's a professor, and he's on all the shows. And he's from, I think he's from Australia, and he's got a thick Australian accent, and he calls everybody mate. Mate. He talks about the economy, and he talks about tariffs, and you got to listen to him because he knows what he's talking about. And, Biden, I see, talks about Biden. First of all, A, he served this country for many, many years. B, he brought us together after COVID. Do you remember that? I don't know if you knew anybody who died from COVID, but it was a bad, bad disease that this guy right here that's covered up in the Epstein files, because they're blocking it right now. They're lying, and they're covering up what he did and how he allegedly abused young women. Biden brought us together after COVID, and he brought us, we had the best economy in the world. Now we're failing. We're failing. Trump can stand up there and lie like a dog. He lies like a rug, okay? And don't believe him. Don't trust him. Don't believe him because he's lied about everything. Is he deporting the worst of the worst? No. When you're deporting Americans, and they're going to these gulags, and they're building more gulags. They're spending billions of our tax dollars to build these prisons. Why? Because they're creating a prison economy, and the big rich dudes, the billionaires, why do you want them to have our money? Ask yourself that. That's happening. That's a fact. We don't have to negotiate it. We don't have to talk about it. That is happening right now. They're killing people. They're killing Americans. Why? Because we spoke up for free speech? So, I won't go on and on because it's late. But I wanted to have the Democratic response. And yes, I did. There are fact checks for Trump. And you can go through, and I will go through, and I will read everything, and I will post some more tomorrow. But I thank you guys for being here. Please, I don't know what you're talking about. This whole crap, covering up things that are guilty. Hell of a drug. La 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 la. Okay. 90% of the time. All right. I've got my microphone right here, and my mic stand covers up my messages. But I've got CR money, blah blah, and then YouTube's asking me, should I hide this? And because if it looks nasty, like shut the F up, I'm gonna hide it. What we need to do, you guys, all right, I mean this sincerely. I mean it. Forget Trump. Forget politicians, okay? Blank it out and look at facts. Just look at facts. How are you doing? How's your health care? How's your mom? How's your dad? Are they poor? Do they need like Meals on Wheels? Are they getting older and do they need like support and help? How are your friends who have kids? Are they struggling? Who do you know that has 3 or 4 jobs? Are people having to work 2 or 3 jobs in order to make ends meet? How's your health care? How's your health care? How are you doing? How are you feeling? Do you have health care? Do you have like insurance? Okay, just ask yourself these questions. This is what's important. To put your anger aside. Don't be, I think the orange walrus is destroying our country, and I think they're destroying our democracy. I love our country. I love cops. I love the rule of law. I love this country. I'm doing this because I want people to vote. It drives me crazy when people say, it doesn't matter if I vote or not. If I vote, it's not going to make one bit of difference. Bull. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And, Trump survived and made it and is president again because he's a liar and people fell for his lies. People think that he knows something about business because he was in that show. He knows nothing about business. He failed at every business. He's a millionaire now because he's grifting off of us. He's a failed businessman. He's a cheater and a liar. He hasn't even paid half the people who built some of his hotels. He threatened to deport them. This is his thing. This is his gig. This is what he does really well. He hasn't even paid the dudes who ruined the White House, who plowed up the White House. He created that fake board of peace with all those fat millionaires standing up there, and he's put in like $5 billion of our money. Of our money. And it's a private thing. It's not even a United States thing. So try to put everything aside and just think of what he's done for you personally. Has he helped you with the cost of the groceries? Has he helped your mom, your dad, your insurance? And has he helped this country? No, because I don't think yanking people off the street and taking them to prisons and leaving them in prisons without due process, it's in the Constitution. You don't go into someone's house. That's a 4th Amendment. Your house is your castle. You're safe in your house. That is in the Constitution. They didn't want people barging in. They didn't want England, okay? They didn't want England knocking down doors and barging into your house. And so they made it the 4th Amendment to the Constitution. They're doing that. They're doing that now to Americans. So, yeah. Are things better? No, they're not. But am I here because I hate Trump? No, I mean, I sound like I do, but no, I'm here because I think it's important to have facts and to vote and to not support that voter bill that's going to make it harder of following the law. So I've got glitches going on. So if I'm glitching out, it's because I'm glitching out. Don't all make it about Trump. Don't all make it about MAGA. You know, do I think MAGA people are stupid? Probably they are, because they don't read. Do I think it's your fault? No. Do I think it's Fox News, not a news station? It's fault? Yes. Yes. They're liars. They're liars. That guy's a liar. The guy who runs Fox, they're liars. And they get up there and they lie. And what they do, here's what they do. They make us hate each other. They make, because if you're white, you hate this. If you're brown, you hate that. No. No. We're strong. We're strong when we're together. All colors. So that's all. That's all I have to say. And did Trump lie a lot? Yeah, hell yeah, he lied. Things are not great. And it's not right for them to be doing the things that they're doing. It's not right for the FBI, this is a fact check it, for the FBI to be late to investigate Charlie Kirk's shooting because Kash Patel had the jet visiting his girlfriend. Does that make me angry? Yes, because someone should be investigating that shooting. And who knows what we missed when they were looking for the jet. That's our jet. That's my money. Do I want it to go and help that investigation? Hell yeah, I do. So you should be angry about some of this stuff. This doesn't mean, this isn't between white or black. This isn't between white or brown. Okay? And we're better when we're all together. We just are. We're a better country. We succeed. We've been the greatest country because we work together. And even Ronald Reagan on his deathbed talked about immigration and how immigrants have made this country great. So that's it. That's why we're here. We have to stop fighting with each other and just get together. Okay? Be together, especially on this channel. So I appreciate you all. Please please subscribe. Please hit a thumbs up and like me so that I can grow my channel, so that we can gear up, so that we can tell people what the Congress is doing. I mean, honestly, I covered Congress for 10 years. I was there every day. I know what Congress does. And do I trust them? No, I don't. Do I think they're lazy? Yes, I do. I think they F around a lot. And I think they don't work as hard as they should for the money that they get paid. That's just my personal opinion. There are great Congress members and there are bad Congress members. Joe Biden was a good Congress member. He was a good senator. Okay, that's how I know him. So there are people there who care about laws and their constituents, and there are people there who don't give a damn. And you can kind of tell. But what they're doing, we need to watch. And that's something I can do. So please subscribe. Want to debate me, you liar? No, I don't. I'm not here to debate you. I'm here to just present some facts and you go look them up. Because it's late. You are either a liar or an idiot. Which is it? I don't know if you guys are talking to each other or if you're talking to me, or because I haven't, because my mic stands in the way. I've got to adjust my area. All right, guys. Thank you very much. I hope that you all have a good night. And please subscribe. Please hit the thumbs up. Please. All right. And I'll post tomorrow. See you tomorrow.